And I told her that for me, the sensual part of relationships is so important. Like the holding, the kissing, the cuddling, the understanding, like the build up of the emotions between the two people. And then she shared back that there are some times where in her experiences or her observation that people were very selfish in nature. It's like, how much can I extract from this person without replenishing what they're taking from them? And when I look at the dynamic between men and women, it seems to be in my dating experience, because I was a serial dater years and years ago, where you're trying to get as much as possible out of the person without necessarily trying to be as balanced. And that's from the men's perspective. Do you think that maybe for women who are more in tune into their emotions, maybe that's why they're a little bit more ready for the relationship, where the men are kind of left wandering because they probably think, hey, I wasn't necessarily taught how to express myself this way, but I know how to take and maybe manipulate situations to my benefit.
Yes, that's actually a very valid point. I do want to start though by saying that it's not only men who have a tendency, or at least as you have expressed, have a tendency to take more than to give. It goes to both genders, and I can say that there was the phase of my life where I was doing the same thing. It's only now when I were to look back and reflect back and connect the dots, I know that the reason I was so self-centered and selfish, as you said, is because I did not know what I possessed inside of me, because I grew up with the mindset of scarcity pretty much around everything. So it kind of bled over into my relationship dynamic. I was always scared that I don't have enough. And when that mentality kind of overpowers your whole being, it affects and impacts the connections we are making. So this selfishness or self-centeredness, I think it more comes not from somebody being ill-tempered or a bad person. I don't usually use those words, bad person, bad or good. It's very subjective, but it more comes from the place of certain emotional trauma, certain emotional conditioning we experience in our childhood. So while that was not our fault, however, once there's awareness of this, it is our responsibility to make sure we change this dynamic, we break the cycle, and we go forward in a lot healthier way to approach relationship.
What are some of the ways that maybe we can make those changes? Because as you mentioned, it's not unique to men or women, but you'd mostly deal with men. I mostly deal with women. So how can we overcome that maybe together instead of apart?
Well, the key word, actually, I'm glad you said together. So the key word is truly togetherness. And here we are truly responsible as an individual and then as a collective, as a society, for making this change, collectively. Because if we make change individually and collectively, it will be kind of like a ripple effect. Like it will go over to a lot of people, a lot of generations, right? But what we can do is, number one, is truly accepting the fact that the change needs to be made, meaning that we have to be okay with admitting that maybe we haven't been doing it the healthiest way possible. Maybe there is a better way to do it. So that requires some courage to really sit with yourself and goes like, okay, maybe I am the problem. Okay, maybe I need to stop pointing the fingers and blame somebody else, blame my ex, blame another ex, or whatever it is, or blame the society, or blame the dating apps, and point it inwards and see how you can generate some change from inside out. Because for me personally, I can only now say when I'm 45, I've been through a couple marriages and divorces, and now I have enough courage to say that I was the common denominator in both of those marriages that ended in divorce. I contributed to end of those relationship, but it took me some time to really admit this truth and say it out loud. So this is the step number one, to truly bring this up to the light and saying this like, okay, I need the change, because this is a beautiful starting point. Once you admit it and you don't fight it, then you can actually start implementing change. And number two, reaching out for help. This is one of the biggest mistakes I did when I started my own transformative journey, is thinking that I will do it all by myself. And I was going, I'm not going to tell anybody that I've got issues, and I'm going to do all my work in secret. And then I'm going to be like, ta-da, look at me, I'm all perfect. I'm all fixed. Well, it didn't work that way, because I realized sometime, actually a couple years into my transformative journey, I realized it's just, you can't do it objectively. You just can't. You cannot think your way out of your thoughts. You can't. So step number two is actually reaching out for help, whether it's therapy, whether it's some kind of group meetings, whether it's a friend, whether it's coaching, whether it's just self-education, but absolutely need to get out of your head and get some objective things going for you.